Hey everyone, how's it going? GeForce is back. It has been a long few months of the workshop being closed, and in fact, it actually has been open for a few weeks. But as you know, I did have to close it to do some school and work through the winter. But now we're back, and I've had so much to do ever since it opened. I had machines to work on and projects to build for mom, so it's been crazy, and I've had no time to film at all, so I apologize for that. I had gotten some footage for other videos through the winter and earlier last fall, but I decided I was going to scrap those because they weren't what I wanted. But anyway, we're back, and I actually was not going to do any filming this year. I was actually kind of considering just dropping it all together because as I said before, I'm super busy, but a strange coincidence happened that has made me decide that to pick it back up. Just something I couldn't look over, and it kind of goes like this. So I was actually coming back from work yesterday, just about to turn into our driveway, when I noticed this big black object cutting down the road a ways, and I was like, "Whoa, what's that?" It could be like a turkey or some shielding that came off someone's car, the cat converter cover. I don't know. I wasn't sure. So I decided, well, I just had to go down there and see. And what it was, people were having to go around it anyway. It was a pretty big object. So I go down there, and then I get this, like, I don't know if it was a shock or what, but like, I'm maybe just going to show you because you'll understand. It's like a very strange coincidence, but this is it. You ready? I found what looks to be a little two-stroke engine just lying on the road. Must have come off someone's junk trailer. I don't know. Like I wasn't there, so I didn't see it happen. It was lying there. It was in people's way. I picked it up, and now I've got myself another project to work on. What's really funny about this is, the first thing I did notice was that it was a two-stroke, and obviously that is weird. There were no other brandings. My first thought was maybe like it was a Chinese clone of something, but of what? I had no idea. It's nothing like I've ever seen before. But after some digging, some research, I found that this is actually a Lawn Boy two-stroke. I'm not sure if it's 5 horsepower or something like that, but yeah, it came off one of the Lawn Boy mowers. You know, those ones with kind of like 3 wheels in an L shape and a little one kind of off center a little bit. It's pretty cool mower, and apparently it's pretty good engine. But I mean, like, it's pretty banged up from its fall. It's got the carburetor all mashed up and some metal pieces broken off. The weirdest thing about this is the muffler is actually on the bottom. It would actually be blowing out smoke into like where the blade is under the deck, but it's kind of come apart too. But I just thought it's so cool, and I'm very tempted to put some money into this. I've looked into it, that you can buy parts, but it's just like the weirdest thing to find on the road in front of our property. Like, how many times has that ever happened? Oh, I guess we've had weird things. I found an iPhone 11 in front of our property at one time. But anyway, that's a different story. In any case, I think I'm going to be working on this for today. We're just going to be stripping it down, seeing what's up with it. It turns over. That's the important thing. It's very stiff, but it does turn over, so it's got compression. But I want to kind of take this apart and see if I can put a different sort of carb on it, because that carb is old and plastic. I think this could be as old as 70s, 80s. But it was really strange for them to put plastic carburetor on it at that time. But like, as I said, it's super cool. I've never seen anything like it. That's part of why I want to work on it. It's just this intrigue. Like, what is this? I've never seen a two-stroke mower before. Alright, so obviously this weird thing is missing a bunch of parts. I guess the biggest thing is it's missing the gas tank that went on top here. If it had included that when I found it, I probably would have known it was a lawn boy because I'm pretty sure it says on the gas tank. But as is, it really has no markings at all. It's got a serial somewhere, but it wasn't like any sort of Briggs and Stratton or Honda or anything like that I recognized. So, yeah, I just went online and searched it. I have seen lawn boys before, but not with two-stroke engines. They usually have a four-stroke, and I guess it was an era thing. Yeah, so this is pretty old, but yeah, let's get into it and see what we find. First thing, I guess, is I want to take off this muffler thing. It is so greasy and gross. So how should I do this? I should probably try to take that off first. Let me get some gloves. This is so slimy. Alright, I'm not sure how you take that off. It may be seized on. Let's see if we get a pry bar. I think that muffler's already wrecked enough. I'm not going to do anything more to it. Might need to put some penetrant in there. This stuff is amazing, by the way. Alright, so 8 hours later, it is loose. I got it off. It took many cycles of liquid wrench plus heat gun to loosen it up. I actually did that several times, then left it several hours, and then was able to whack it out. Bent it slightly, but I don't think I'm going to be using that again. That's just a blade adapter. And if I do, well, we'll see then. But anyway, it's off. That's the important thing. Here now we have our muffler. I know this is another... if I didn't say it before, this is another one of the weird things. It's such a weird engine. But the muffler is basically underneath the deck where the blade spins in that area. Anyway, this muffler is pretty much just a dome over top a plate that's attached to the engine that I guess the exhaust goes through. There's a hole it goes in down here, and it comes out here, and you have a bunch of smoke when you start it underneath the deck. That's just part of its personality. But in any case, from what I've read, well, what I've seen, these things can go bad and all crusty like this. You have to clean them out, or else it kind of loses its efficiency and it kind of stops running very, very well. So there's a ton of carbon in here. This could be why this was junk, that it lost power. Then nobody knew how to clean it, so I'll be definitely giving that a good clean. But it's off now, and that's kind of the important part. Yeah, so we'll move on. There's a little plate here too I better get rid of. Okay, so next is the plate. This exhaust plate actually broke off, I'm assuming when it fell off the truck or trailer, whatever it is. Oh, it's missing a piece there. But it went like this, and then it must have... The impact, well, you can see the muffler cover is dented. So, yeah, it took a beating. But, I don't know if that's worth fixing or not. Might just be able to get another one. I've seen them on eBay. You can buy anything on eBay. Yeah, so... to get these, I don't know if those are 1/2 inch. Yeah, they're 1/2 inch. I may need my ratchet for this, or my impact. Oh, this is so crusty. While I'm taking this out, I'm going to tell you why removing the muffler is the #1 important thing for diagnosing a two-stroke small engine, and that's because on these two-stroke engines, you can actually see right through the exhaust port into the cylinder and see the piston going up and down. You can also look into the spark plug hole, but that's not going to tell you if there's scoring on the side or not. If there's scoring, you know it's probably shot, but if it still looks nice and smooth and shiny, well, you probably still got a good engine. I'm guessing it's probably okay because seems to have good compression, but it's worth checking anyway. And we're going to have to replace this part whatever we do. So it's kind of it's worth it. So I got the last bolt off here, put those aside, and this cover just comes off, or rather this half cover, rather it's plate, but ooh, look at that. Looks like, yep, this was a mower, you can tell. Oh, that's straight up my garbage. Alright, so I'm gonna give this a wipe just to see what it looks like. That looks pretty good. Looks like the seal's still in good shape down there. Oh, it really needs a spray off, but oh boy. Look at that carbon just caking the exhaust port. I gotta get that off. There's a gasket, but I'm not going to touch that. Okay, so if we shine a light in there, and I turn it over, we should technically see the piston going up and down, but I'm maybe going to have to change the camera angle here. Okay, so the other thing I did was to remove the plug from the top. For some reason, it was loose. I bet someone already checked it, but yeah, you'd see there's a bit of it still stuck in the boot there. It was pretty shattered. So yeah, I took that out so it'd be easier to turn over. There was quite a big compression. But the funny thing I noticed was it looks to me, a Briggs guy, to be a J8 plug. It looks very similar in, like, well, I haven't verified, but the gap looks the same. The threaded part seems pretty much the same size, same length, everything. And yeah, by all appearances, it seems to be a J8. However, you may see if I can get this thing to focus. I have such trouble having to focus. Let's see here. Okay, so it's an NGK-R plug, and you might be able to see it there. It says SPWR74. Did I get? Sorry, no, SPMR74. I have no idea what that means. I don't even know if that's the spark plug type or some other sort of code. But as you might see here, this is a J8 plug, or rather most of it. And I tried it in the head and it fits fine. So I'll probably just go with that because that's what I have. Since I have Briggs engines, they all seem to use the J8s. At least the smaller ones do. So yeah, right. I wanted to show you the piston turning over there. Let me just get a light here. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. The piston is going up and down in the cylinder. Looks pretty good, actually. Not too much scoring, but there is rather a lot of carbon, so I'm probably going to have to open it up and clean all of that out, but I think it should run. Okay, so the next step then is to strip this right down. I'm going to take it down right to the cylinder and actually take the piston right out. Another thing about this engine is you can't take the head off, which, like, I'm not exactly sure how that's supposed to work then. I guess because there's no intake port there and it's just the spark plug. But anyway, you can't take the head off. You can separate it though at the crankshaft, and the fuel apparently gets in through through the carburetor, which is actually bolted to the bottom. So I'm going to take it apart just to see how this thing works. So many things just seem weird to me, but maybe I just don't understand it. So it's just different. That's what it is. So I'm going to take it apart and see how it works, see what needs fixing, see if I can bring it back to life. So I'll put you guys on a time lapse and I'll get this thing stripped right down, and then I'll be back with you. Okay, so here's what I found. I've got it all apart, and I figured out how it works. Um, you might see down there, there's all those holes. What is there? Is there like, I think there's 4, 7. So the 3 there in the middle there, those are exhaust. So since it's a two-stroke, the piston just covers up those holes when it's in its firing sequence, and then it just, like when the piston's at the top, and then when it comes down, it uncovers the holes and the exhaust goes right out. That's why it's a two-stroke. It doesn't have to use any valves. And then on the side, those other 4, 2 on each side, are actually intake. And see, the bottom part of the crankcase here had the carburetor bolted on, so I was trying to figure out how it worked. So apparently it sucks it in. There's those 2 little flaps that go in and out, and then it sucks the fuel air mixture into, or kind of below the piston where the crankshaft is, and then apparently when the piston comes down, it not only sucks it in through the sides, out through those holes, but also in theory would be pushing it because it's compressing air as it comes down. So I think that's a genius solution. I don't know all the technical details to it, all the mathematics, but it seems to me like an awesome idea. Maybe that's why these things are so reliable and work so well. But yeah, that's how it works. That makes sense now. Cool two-stroke, and it's so tiny. Like, look at that. Look at that block. And apparently, from what I've seen, these could be as much as like 5 or 6 horsepower, just because they're two strokes, and they can be a lot more compact than 4 strokes. I have a 5 horsepower Briggs 4-stroke, and it's probably 2 or 3 times the size and weight of this thing. So that's really cool too. My biggest concern, like, everything here looks okay. The rings still have lots of life in them. There's a lot of carbon on the top. It's almost like, I can't figure this out either. It's a semi-dome. I don't think it's blowing out the top, but it's just like it's a hemispherical sort of thing. And the crankshaft looks good. Everything nice and oily. Some carbon, that's okay. I can clean that up. But my biggest concern really is this arm piece here that's actually breaking off. And the issue with that is I wouldn't mind that, except for the fact that the magneto here goes right, it bolts right onto, let's see, how does this go? It somehow bolts on like that. And then the one post that it's bolted to is actually on the section that's kind of broken. So that may be a problem. I do however, know someone who can do aluminum welding, so that may be heading back to him. Here, he did something for us, so that's good. And I'll figure that part out. But otherwise, I got all the other parts stripped. Really got to just clean them. I really need a new carburetor because it is cracked up. But you can buy those. They're not cheap. In fact, you can buy pretty much all these parts. They are not cheap. But I need that and the muffler, and then I'm probably golden because that's really all this needs. I did do a little more looking into the plug. Apparently, these plugs, well, I knew a little bit less about plugs than I thought, and so I believe these, like the 2-stroke plugs, the difference they have from the J8 is the thread and everything may be the same, but they are a colder plug, I believe, so that they don't overheat, because 2-strokes create quite a bit of heat and go super fast, so they kind of, I think they have to cool down a little bit better, I believe. But I'll do more looking into that. Those plugs are still pretty easy to get, so even if I don't have any, I can probably get them easily. And I did have a carburetor. I don't remember what brand it is. It's not a Nicky, but it's something. It came off of Briggs, and it's pretty small. It might bolt on this, but then again, same problem. It's from a 4-stroke. I don't know if the 2-strokes require a different amount of fuel. Like, I can tune it, but I don't know if it's way off the spectrum or not. So I may just have to experiment, or just go buy the parts. We'll see how it goes. But Yeah. Alright, so that's it for now on the two-stroke lawn boy mower engine. The weirdest machine I've ever worked on, not only because it's a like a format I've never seen on an engine before, but also because it was found on a country road in the middle of southwestern Ontario, just like out of the blue. So yeah, I don't think I would have believed it either if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes and picked it up. And it's right here. And I tell you guys, if I had a photo, I would show you proof, but I was too excited to take anything. So yeah, and it was slowing down traffic. Either way, this is going to be a kind of a cool project. I really hope to get it running because it's so cool. It's a one of a kind. I've never seen these before. They may be common some places and people may know about them, but I've never seen anything like this. So I hope you had fun, hope you enjoyed the video, hope you maybe even learned something, but I'll get back to you as soon as I can with any updates on this build. Remember to like, subscribe, anything you feel like doing, even give me a thumbs down if you really feel like it. But you know,
I appreciate all you guys watching.
and I'll see you around. G-Force over and out.